If you found this message, it's not random. And if something in you feels alert right now, not afraid, but aware, that's important. Because as 2026 unfolds, the universe is not speaking loudly anymore. It's whispering. And only those who know how to listen will understand what's coming next. This is not a year of explanation. This is not a year of oversharing. And this is definitely not a year to reveal everything you're manifesting, feeling, or becoming. Many people think manifestation works by announcing it, by posting it, by talking about it endlessly. But that's not how power moves in 2026. In fact, the universe is issuing a quiet warning to those who are truly aligned. And the warning is simple. Some things lose their power the moment they are spoken aloud. If you're a chosen one, you've probably noticed something strange already. People misunderstand you more easily now. Your energy feels stronger, but also more sensitive. You feel a pull to observe instead of react, to move silently instead of explaining yourself. That's not isolation, that's preparation. 2026 is not about becoming visible to everyone. It's about becoming invisible to the wrong people. And this message isn't for everyone watching. It's for the ones who feel uncomfortable when they talk too much about their plans. The ones who feel drained after explaining themselves. The ones who feel something slip away the moment they share it. If that's you, stay with me. Because today, we're opening the first layer of the universe's warning. And before we even reveal the first manifestation secret you must never expose, you need to understand why silence has suddenly become sacred. There is a shift happening in how energy responds to attention. In earlier years, speaking things into existence worked because the collective energy was outward. Now, the energy is turning inward. What you protect grows. What you expose prematurely leaks. This is why not everyone who talks about abundance receives it. This is why not everyone who announces their healing stays healed. And this is why not everyone who posts their spiritual awakening completes it. Power does not announce itself. It arrives quietly. And chosen ones are being asked to relearn something ancient. Silence is not weakness. Silence is containment. When you contain something, you allow it to mature. When you rush to share it, you invite interference. And interference in 2026 doesn't always look like jealousy or negativity. Sometimes it looks like curiosity. Sometimes it looks like praise. Sometimes it looks like support. But even attention can distort energy when it's too early. That's why the universe is warning you now. Because the manifestations forming around you are not ordinary. They require protection. And this brings us to the first manifestation secret you must never reveal in 2026. Your next level plans, not your current situation, not what you've already achieved, but what you're quietly preparing to become. Your next move, your next identity, your next evolution. The moment you reveal your plans too early, three things happen energetically. First, the energy shifts from creation to explanation. Instead of building, you start justifying. Instead of aligning, you start defending. Second, people begin projecting their limitations onto your vision. They don't mean harm, but their doubts land in your subconscious like static. And third, the universe pauses, not to punish you, but to see if you're seeking validation or alignment. Chosen ones don't manifest by convincing others. They manifest by staying loyal to what they felt before anyone else knew. If you've ever noticed that some things worked better when no one knew about them, that wasn't coincidence. That was alignment. 2026 amplifies this effect. This year, your plans need privacy like a seed needs soil, not applause. If you talk too much about what you're building, you scatter the energy before it stabilizes. That's why some opportunities disappear after you tell someone about them. That's why some ideas lose momentum after you explain them. The universe is saying, build first, reveal later. And if someone doesn't understand why you've become quieter, that's confirmation, not a problem. Silence is not distance, it's discernment. Now, let me say something important here. This warning is not about paranoia. It's not about mistrust. It's about timing. In 2026, timing is everything. There will be moments when you feel an urge to share, and an inner voice that says, "Not yet." That voice is your alignment, and the chosen ones who listen to it will experience manifestations that arrive smoothly without resistance. Those who ignore it will feel delays, confusion, or unnecessary obstacles. And before we go deeper, let me ask you something, quietly, within yourself. Have you already experienced something falling apart after you spoke about it too soon? If yes, you're already learning. If you've made it this far, don't forget to subscribe for daily cosmic insights, astrology updates, and spiritual guidance, because the universe always has a message for you. Now, as this message continues, the revelations will deepen. Because the next secret the universe warns you never to reveal in 2026 is not about plans. It's about something even more personal, something connected to your inner transformation. And that's where things become powerful and dangerous at the same time. If this is resonating, don't rush ahead mentally. Let it settle. And if you feel it, if something in you recognizes this truth, you'll want to stay for part 2, because what's coming next explains why some chosen ones rise silently, while others expose themselves right out of alignment. And the difference is everything. There's a reason the universe didn't rush this message to you. Some truths only land when your nervous system is calm enough to receive them. And now that you're here, we move deeper. Because the second manifestation secret the universe is warning you never to reveal in 2026 is far more subtle than your plans. It's your inner transformation, the healing you're going through, the identity you're shedding, the version of yourself that is quietly dissolving. Most people don't realize this, but inner change is fragile before it's complete. When a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, it doesn't explain the process. It disappears. And chosen ones are in that disappearing phase now. In 2026, many of you are undergoing a transformation that cannot survive commentary, not because others are evil, but because interpretation freezes motion. The moment you explain your healing, people label it. They call it trauma, or growth, or ego, or a phase. And the moment it's labeled, it becomes smaller than it really is. Your transformation is not meant to be understood while it's happening. It's meant to be felt, stabilized, and embodied first. Have you noticed that when you talk about how much you've changed, you suddenly feel confused again? Or when you open up about your healing journey, old emotions resurface for no clear reason? That's because the transformation wasn't ready to be observed. In 2026, the universe is asking chosen ones to heal without witnesses, to evolve without announcing it, to become without narrating it. Because narration invites interference. Not all interference is negative. Some of it is sympathy. Some of it is advice. Some of it is concern. But even concern can anchor you to an old version of yourself. People unconsciously want you to stay recognizable to them. And when you share your inner shifts too early, you give them permission to hold you there. The universe is warning you now. Not everyone deserves front-row access to your becoming. This is why you might feel less inclined to explain yourself lately. Why you'd rather sit in silence than justify your choices. Why conversations feel shallow when they require you to translate your soul. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. 2026 is not the year to tell people how much you've healed. It's the year to let them feel it without explanation. Let your calm speak. Let your boundaries speak. Let your absence from chaos speak. Chosen ones don't need to announce transformation. Transformation announces itself when it's complete. There's also something else happening energetically this year. When you speak about your inner change before it's grounded, you reopen portals to versions of yourself that are trying to exit. It's like reopening a door you already walked through. That's why some people relapse emotionally after deep conversations. That's why clarity disappears after oversharing. Silence allows integration, and integration is power. If you're listening to this and thinking, "I've felt this but didn't know how to explain it," that's because this message was meant to find you now. Your healing is sacred, and sacred things are not discussed casually. In earlier years, sharing vulnerability was encouraged, and for good reason. But 2026 brings a different lesson. Not everything needs to be shared to be validated. Some things need to be protected to survive. And here's the part most people miss. When you stop explaining your inner world, the universe begins responding faster because your energy becomes coherent, focused, undiluted. You stop leaking power through words, and suddenly, manifestations feel smoother. Less resistance, less chaos, less emotional whiplash. That's not coincidence, that's containment. And if you've already noticed that people treat you differently now, with curiosity, confusion, or even distance, it's because they can feel that something in you has shifted. They just don't have access to it anymore. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Now, take a breath here, because what comes next is even deeper. The third manifestation secret the universe is warning you never to reveal in 2026 is not about your plans, not about your healing. It's about your desires, the ones you don't fully understand yet, the ones that feel too big or too strange or too specific. And revealing those too early can quietly derail everything. That's what we're opening in part 3. So stay grounded, and if you're feeling this in your body right now, that calm alertness, that quiet recognition, you already know. You're not meant to move loudly this year. You're meant to move correctly, and that requires silence. Part 3 will explain why desire itself becomes vulnerable when exposed too soon, and how chosen ones protect it without suppressing it. When you're ready, we continue. Stay with this moment, because the third manifestation secret the universe is warning you never to reveal in 2026 is not something most people even realize they're exposing. It's your true desires, not the surface wants, not the socially acceptable goals, but the desires that come from your deepest alignment, the ones that scare you a little, the ones you don't fully have language for yet, the ones that don't make sense to everyone else. In 2026, desire becomes magnetic, and magnetism attracts everything, not just what supports it. This is why the universe is asking chosen ones to guard their desires carefully, because desire is raw energy before it becomes form, and raw energy is easily distorted. Have you ever shared something you deeply wanted, only to suddenly feel unsure about it afterward? Not because you changed your mind, but because something felt off? That's not self-doubt. That's interference. When you speak a desire before it stabilizes, you expose it to opinions, projections, and interpretations that were never meant to touch it. Someone questions it. Someone laughs it off. Someone says, "Are you sure?" Someone says, "That's unrealistic." And even if you consciously dismiss them, your subconscious hears it. The desire loses its purity. In 2026, purity matters. This year, manifestation responds less to effort and more to clarity without contamination. Your desires need space to clarify themselves. They need silence to sharpen. They need privacy to deepen. That's why you might feel frustrated when people ask you, "So, what do you really want?" And you don't know how to answer anymore. It's not because you're lost, it's because your desire is still forming. And formation does not like witnesses. Chosen ones are not meant to crowdsource their destiny. You're meant to listen inward, not outward. Here's something most people don't realize. The moment you explain a desire, you turn it into a concept. But manifestation responds to felt reality, not concepts. Words flatten energy, especially premature words. In 2026, desires spoken too early tend to stall, mutate, or dissolve. Not as punishment, but because the universe is asking for precision. Your desire must first feel inevitable to you before it can materialize externally. And inevitability doesn't need validation. This is why some of you feel protective of your dreams lately. Why you avoid conversations that push you to define everything. Why you'd rather say, "I don't know yet," than give a half-true answer. That's wisdom. Your desire is not hiding because it's weak. It's hiding because it's becoming specific, and specificity requires silence. Let me say this clearly. In 2026, talking about your desires before they mature is like pulling a plant out of the soil to check if it's growing. You don't speed growth, you interrupt it. This is also why comparison feels more dangerous now. When you hear what others want, your desire momentarily wavers. It tries to adjust. It tries to justify itself. And in that moment, alignment slips. Chosen ones are being trained this year to want what is truly theirs, not what sounds impressive, spiritual, or acceptable. And that training happens in private. If you've noticed that your desires feel more intense lately, but harder to explain, that's not confusion. That's refinement. The universe is asking you to protect the desire until it locks in, until it stops wobbling, until it feels calm instead of urgent. Urgent desires are usually ungrounded. Grounded desires feel quiet, strong, certain, and certainty doesn't speak loudly. It waits. Now pause here for a moment, because if you're honest with yourself, you already know which desire you've been talking about too much. The one that loses energy every time you explain it. The one that feels sacred, but fragile. That's the one the universe is asking you to protect. Not forever, just until it becomes embodied. And when it does, you won't need to explain it. People will see it. Now, breathe. Because there is one final manifestation secret left, and this one is the most dangerous to reveal in 2026. Not because it invites doubt, not because it attracts interference, but because it exposes your spiritual leverage, your energetic advantage. The thing that makes manifestations accelerate when you're aligned. And once you understand that, you'll understand why some chosen ones rise quietly while others burn out trying to be seen.